Yeah, let's talk about SMX just to start off. First podium, 2-4 for second. You're fifth overall, I think, in points in SMX right now. Hell of a great round for you. You said post-race that you're riding the way you believed you could and getting the results you believed. But really, man, what do you feel the difference has been in the last few weeks? Has there been anything, or is it just, you just put it all together?
I think just consistent days of work. I had 3 really good weeks where I don't think I really had a day where I was off. I was fast every day at the test track. There wasn't like a day where I was good and a day where I was bad. I was pretty good every day, and I was in a really good place physically, mentally going into SMX. And I knew that if I could have my starts dialed like I did on Saturday, that I could run up front with those guys. And I feel like I did that. I rewatched the race, and I still feel like I'm not riding to the capability I do at the test track, and I'm still a good bit from where I want to be. But no, I'm really happy with this weekend, and I feel like we definitely made a step in the right direction.
Okay, let me follow that up then. What are you seeing that's not at the level you know you can be, and how do you get to that level? Like what are you seeing, and what do you need to fix or do differently, and how do you make it happen?
I'm a bit too notchy at the race. Make too many mistakes. Don't roll enough. There's some speed that is missing that I have during the week that I'm not bringing to the race. I think if I'm 100% from what I ride at the test track to the race, then we can definitely win one of these.
This is your first full season. 23, you did some futures, you won some races, but this is the first full 250 Supercross season, outdoor season. You're putting it all together, coming from amateurs. Has it been more difficult than you expected? Were you prepared for how taxing it is, travel-wise, et cetera? How do you feel about that stuff for the season so far?
Yeah, for sure. I think the travel is obviously very, very taxing on the body. You spend a lot of days in the plane, and you obviously have to recover really well. But no, I think just the being at the races every weekend. I mean, in the amateurs, you only race 8 times. I mean, not even 6 times a year. So just being at the races every weekend and racing as many times as we do during the year is definitely been a learning experience. And obviously, I've made it known that I had injuries during Supercross, had the concussion in outdoors, and just having to fight through that stuff and show up every weekend, no matter how you feel, how good you feel, how much pain you're in. Showing up each weekend and doing the job has been a big learning experience for me. But I feel like that helped me in the long run when now I'm back to 100% and I'm fully healthy going into these SMX rounds. So it helped me with knowing that I'm ready to go.
It was cool seeing after the race your interaction with Davey and your team around you, and it was a big moment for you, and it was cool to see that. And you could tell that Davey has y'all have a good relationship, and that he has a lot invested in you, and he saw that reward. So what's it like working with him and having a guy like that, and the things that you learn from?
Yeah, for sure. Having Davey around is amazing. We have a really good relationship. We're really close. I speak to him every day, and he stays with me when he's in California. So we're really tight, and I feel like I've frustrated him quite a bit this season with the way I've been riding, because we see so much more of me during the week, and I frustrated him quite a bit all season. So he was happy with being on the box finally, but he came to me after the race. He's like, we're still off from where we're at the test track, and we rewatched the race last night together, and we know where we're off at, and we know what we need to work on going into these last 2 and where we need to be better.
So racing SMX with like Supercross suspension on the motocross style section out there, how does that compare to like racing jet skis? Because they don't have suspension. I gotta think that they kind of beat you to death.
Yeah, for sure. It honestly probably helped quite a bit, especially I raced jet skis last weekend, so I fought quite a bit for that. And then going into this weekend, obviously the track was pretty much a complete outdoor track besides the singular rhythm they had on the track, but you had to run Supercross suspension with how peaky that rhythm was. So having to adapt to running Supercross suspension on an outdoor setting of a track, I mean, I feel like obviously they can't rip it as deep and stuff like outdoors, so it didn't get as rough as a normal outdoor track would be. I think it'd be a different situation if we were on an actual outdoor track with a Supercross section. But no, for sure, having to adapt to running Supercross suspension when it gets bumpy like that is definitely challenging.
It was definitely an impressive ride, and it happens. They announced that you did this jet ski race, and mentally, was that kind of like a break? Like, hey, I'm focusing on something else other than motocross, and when you came back, it's like, oh yeah, I actually enjoyed doing this. Do you think that has something to do with the success you had this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. I think not even just the jet ski race. I feel like the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, I feel like in the beginning of the season, it was all like moto. Even when I was at home chilling, I was thinking about racing, and I tried to kind of separate myself. Like if I wasn't at the track, like I don't want to talk too much about racing. Like obviously me and Davey, I'll call him and we'll talk about my day and how my day went, how I was riding or whatever. But after that, it's like I try to stay away from talking about moto and just do other things. Try to limit how much I think about it and try to focus on just getting my mind off it and doing other things. And I feel like I changed that for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and it's definitely showed that that just being a little less focused on it, obviously being focused on race day, but trying to think about other things and do other things to keep my mind off of it has helped quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Like you're one of the few guys that, I mean, everybody plays golf or whatever, but you're doing another sport, you have almost a second, like you're a dual sport athlete almost. I don't know, you're a little young, but back in the day we had like football, baseball players like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders who played both sports. Basically, what I'm getting at is you're not getting burnt out. And I think that's kind of what you were saying. Having something like that as a second outlet will help your longevity in this sport because it's not 24/7 moto.
I feel like I did do a lot of that 24/7 moto from, I'd say, in mid-August or right before Loretta's last year when I found out that I was going to race the last 2 nationals, all the way until maybe I'd say the right at Washougal was when I was like, all right, like I need to step away a little bit and try to just have something else going on. And I had gone to Havasu. I rode in Havasu, but when I wasn't riding, I was either jet skiing or I went on the boat. Like I just tried to step away a little bit, and even at dinner, like even at the races, say we had press on Friday, like when we left the track, I had no one in my camp talking about moto. We were talking about other things and really just trying to limit how much we thought about it and talked about it.
Can you see any negatives on the physical side or the performance side where like, oh, it takes me a day or two to really get back into the groove, or are you not sensing that?
No, it wasn't like I wasn't riding or I wasn't on the spin bike doing that stuff. I still did everything I had been doing before. It was just like when I left the track, no more moto.
Okay.
If I was doing a bike ride, yeah, we talked about it and we did whatever. But then when I get home from a bike ride, like we don't talk about it anymore. And so it was just more of like I stayed on the program and what I was doing, but when I was outside of that, we didn't talk about it. So just having that separation was nice.
What about the level of competition? You mentioned only in the amateurs, you only race maybe 6 times a year, 7 times a year, really. And then even when you're at those races, there's 2 or 3 guys that are at the top level. But now you're racing, everybody's at the top level almost. Has that been surprising in any way?
Yeah, for sure. I think there was a lot of times like in my preparation coming into the year where, yeah, I could do my fast laps at the test track, but I struggled being able to do that for the longevity of a main event or a moto. And I really tried to focus on this break going into SMX on making sure my sprint laps I could do my sprint laps for 20+1 in the moto. And I think doing that, like obviously my sprint lap, I can go the pace of the guys in the front, but doing that for 20 minutes is a different story. And I was able to do that for 3 weeks straight of just doing my sprint laps during a moto. And I think knowing that pace going into the race and knowing that I can do that pace for that long was a big help in my confidence. And I feel like after this weekend, we're in a really good place going into Dallas.
You obviously like other racing sports. Is there any like goal to go over and try to do some of that later on in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I thought about trying other things. Obviously, I wanna become a champion, and I wanna check off all my goals in Supercross and motocross first, and then I think after that I'll think about maybe switching over and maybe going to Europe, doing MXGP for a little bit.
Nice.
I feel like that'd be cool after I accomplish everything I want to accomplish here. I'm really close with Prado, so
okay.
I'm pulling for Prado to win this title.
Yeah, then Prado coming over next year. That's probably exciting for you then.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty close with him, and we talk quite a bit. So
Nice.
We trained together quite a bit when he was here as well. So
Yeah.
having him back here, we'll probably train off the bike quite a bit and hang out quite a bit. So
Very cool.
I'm excited to come back.
I want to go back to this last weekend's race at Charlotte, leading some laps. What did you learn from that?
Sure, obviously Hayden was riding really good, but I think the biggest thing for me was being able to break away and get that 5-second lead in the beginning, and really like having that confidence of, all right, like I can do this. I'm as good as these guys, and I can be up here. So once he got around me, just trying to learn from him and see what he was doing different, see where he's gaining time in the lines he's taking. He's very crafty with his lines. So being able to learn from him and see that craftiness and how much he looks around is definitely a big thing for me.
Yeah, I think he was the first one I saw use that berm to the backside of the berm. Did you copy that? Like after you saw him do it, I feel like I saw you do it next.
Yeah, I picked up on it right after he did it. He didn't do it the lap he passed me, but I'm pretty sure the next lap he did it.
Yep.
And I picked up on it. But he's got some crafty lines for sure, and he's very good at seeing the whole track and finding good lines. So learning from that was very good for me.
Yeah, I don't want to dominate your interview about him too much, but in the press conference, he was kind of asked about you, and because he congratulated you, he seemed very happy for you, and he had the comment of, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm happy for him getting his first win or first podium. He's doing well, but once he starts running with me every weekend, that will shift." That's just a racer mentality. But did you have any thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we aren't going to be friends soon. So.
I like it. Yeah, you're like, I'm going to be there, so suck it up, buddy.
Yeah, looks like we aren't going to be friends soon.